Hi stars. Sorry about that. I had to come on to redo last night's live because in as much as it was 35 minutes, it seems to have posted as something like, I don't know, 35 seconds. So I'm still trying to figure out this technology. A lot of people say really good things about using Zoom or StreamYard to go live, but I'm just getting my feet wet. And one of the things I'm getting my feet wet with this July 4th holiday weekend, post Pride, is this, I guess, fantasy palette number 3. Some people call this the birthday palette, I think, from Dragon Beauty. But the first two palettes were a good deal darker. There's a lot of pink in this one. And I thought that, since I used the Jason Wu yesterday, I'd use some of these matte agave palette shades to set the concealer that I put on my lids. So anyway, let's, get down with the go round. How's your holiday weekend shaping up? As I was saying to one of my friends on Rizzle, I've been getting a lot of, comments and what is it called? Engagement from, some people who don't necessarily like me. You know how that people like getting on the internet to be hostile because they can do so somewhat in private. I happen to know who one of these people is, but it's not like he's using his real name or his real face, right? And isn't that always the tip off when people, they want to be provocative, but they don't want to actually be accountable? And maybe that's the fun of it, right? If that's as far as it goes, go off, sis. You want to, get aggro on another person's YouTube. Why not take that energy and make your own YouTube content? In any case, this is a smoky eye brush kit from our friends at e.l.f. I've had this for a minute. There's a lot of reading. Eyeshadow C brush. Oh, and they are labeled. Apply a base shade, fluffy eye blender brush. Apply a mid-tone shade along the crease. I understand that, right? Then create a smoky effect by blending a deeper shade all over the lid, stopping at the crease. Use the blending brush for a more diffuse daytime look, or the eyeshadow C brush for deeper, more concentrated colors. Apply a gel or liquid eyeliner to the upper lash line with the angled brush. Use the small precision brush to put black or dark brown eyeshadow all over the eyeliner. I need to study this more, but usually I just freestyle it with the brushes. I really did just want to redo the live I did last night. I didn't do my makeup because I did my makeup on a TikTok live. And, when I use my back camera on TikTok, I can't see that people are actually trying to engage with me. All I see is the back camera. Apparently the back camera has better quality. And so I wasn't really aware. And at the same time, I confess yes, you can get comments when you're on YouTube Live. I don't get a lot of comments, so I'm kind of not used to it per se, but I like getting comments. I'm not sure what this brush is for. It's a Morphe E53. I just want to use it because my face is tickling me, and just to put a little powder on in the places where I put concealer. Maybe we'll get a little on the eyelid in preparation for our shadow. It may take different equipment than I have currently in order to be able to kind of interface that way. I have watched lives with some of my favorite creators where they're always, kind of poking at the computer and doing a lot of things, but, forgive me, I'm not there yet. I can't say that I reject the engagement that I get. I just literally was asked a specific question about, wow, what does it mean when people seek you out to be nasty? and they know they're being nasty. I mean, sometimes this particular person thinks that he's being slick about how nasty he's being, but you know, I get it. People, it's a tough time, right? People are going through a lot. They don't necessarily have good feelings to share, right? And it's different than being in a domestic situation with someone where, wow, this shade, it's the palest shade in the Jason Wu Matte Agave palette, and it looks on the brush like it would be a shimmer, but I don't think it is. In any case, we're just setting our e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Light Beige. I don't know if that's the lightest color, but I don't think that the e.l.f. Camo products, because I feel like there's a powder, a series of powders as well. They don't have the biggest shade range. You know, there's certain products that only have like 6 or 7 shades, right? Medium, light, deep, and maybe with some variations between those, and that's all you get. And I mean, I guess that's fair if everyone's getting the same limited shade range. You know, you get what you get and you have to make it work. I've been watching with interest people talk about these shade adjusting drops. I happen to have some from Physicians Formula that let you make a shade, I think, just darker or lighter. And I think I also have a yellow one, maybe from e.l.f., that lets you make a shade warmer, because I have gotten into some trouble with some foundation and complexion products that were just too pink or too cool for my complexion. It's interesting because this white is like canceling out to nothingness on my skin. But, you know, it's just kind of using a shadow as a setting powder as we prepare for, I think, what will be a fairly delicious set of very saturated shadows from Miss Nikita Dragun. Now again, disclaimer, I am aware of some of the troubling blackfishing behaviors. I wouldn't even say accusations, you know, and you know, I think the internet is a dialogue where, you know, maybe people get taught how to do better. You know, it's certainly understandable how people can be desperate to strive for relevance and visibility, but, you know, people gonna let you know when you go too far. But yeah, the reason why this particular post is called SISTA SAYS instead of just camera ready, right? It's the weekend. I'm not really going anywhere. This is the only camera that I'm getting ready for. And again, I'm always striving just to try out new products I've gotten my hands on, right? So trying out these new e.l.f. brushes that are very clever in the sense that they have a description of what they are on the brush. And they have like a little envelope that you can keep them in, if you so choose. But, you know, giving this Revolution, Makeup Revolution London Soap Brow Another Whirl after that troubling dark eyebrow, what is it called? Brow gel. It looked like it was brown in the little vial. Once it got on my face, medium brown it says. Once it got on my brows and on my face, it looked like Groucho Marx territory. You know, I was Cara Delevingne with too much brow enhancement. It was an overwhelming look, and I have dark brows. Can you imagine just making them even more dramatic? It was a mistake. But what I mean about it being a tough week for women in America, of course, the damage that has been done to the Roe versus Wade decision by the Supreme Poobahs in Washington, it cannot be underestimated. And it just seems like, you know, backing up from it 60,000 feet, it just seems like a desperate attempt to not only force births, not only farm people. It almost seems like there's a targeting of certain demographics as a way to try to stave off the changes in what demographics are the majority and what demographics are slowly but surely becoming the majority, right? It just seems like everyone's clear that maybe being a minority isn't the safest, most enjoyable experience. Can you imagine that? I wonder what maybe gave them that idea. But in any case, beyond that, we've also had, some troubled waters, just still trying to figure out this January 6th, 2020 set of, whether you call it attempted coup, attack on the Capitol, insurrection. There were some militia groups involved, and from the way the whole hearing situation is playing out, and what I mean about bad week for women, it's like this very brave Cassidy Hutchinson came forward, switched lawyers from the ones that the Trump camp were paying for to another sort of lawyer that, liberated her to come out and actually speak her piece, to actually respond to the subpoena in a responsible way, which is what you're supposed to do. But, it just tells you, I don't know, should I even say this? It tells you certain people speak with a forked tongue, right? This is the slightly deeper shade of the Jason Wu, right? They say, under oath, they say tell the truth, but yet privately, there's like a winking kind of, it's clear that someone was sending her text messages meant to influence her as a 25, 26-year-old aide who obviously got through a complicated process to be approved, to be around someone that she supported. She supported Donald Trump. They're sending her messages saying, oh, so-and-so is thinking about you, and we know you're going to go and to your deposition and do the right thing, right? The right thing is not necessarily the true thing. The right thing is not necessarily, morally or factually what she should do. But this was someone very anonymously but subtly trying to send a message. I wonder who that could have been. Ah! Oh, shoot. A leaf fell off my pomegranate tree and it made a sound. I'm sorry. I'm like such a little fraidy cat. That was a shock. Anyway, it's always interesting how grown men like to play with young women in politics, right? There's an expectation that they can, and that they can get away with it, right? But at a certain level, having worked in politics, there's always a taste for having young, and also in film and television, there's a taste for having young, attractive people, especially women around. And it can give you a certain kind of access. But, like the family cat, in so many situations, it can be a situation where that access and your visibility but disempowerment can lead to situations like this where, Cassidy Hutchinson knows more than some people would like her to. But you see how many people, including, allegedly Giuliani and her boss, Mark Meadows, how much they had to say, that they enjoy on a certain level gloating and talking about the things that they're up to. They need an audience, someone who's been cleared by Homeland Security because their egos need it, right? Cis-het men often need women around to reflect back to them their own image of themselves. But what they don't count on is the fact that women are not pets or toys. They're human beings with brains and memories and their own sense of their own career, their own sense of morality and justice and right. And I think that's what Cassidy Hutchinson is bringing to bear in the Liz Cheney-led hearing chamber. And that's also delicious because, Liz Cheney she is a beast. Her father was a beast. Now, I'm not going to say they're good people, but she certainly is seeming like the right tool for the job, just like Cassidy Hutchinson is. Not that they're not suffering for it, but baby, when it comes to interesting television, it's been delightful, right? So that's that. But, in another vein, women have been taking hits because of OF, right? And it's always so interesting that people can attack women who perform on OF, just like they attack a Melania Trump for performing as a model in States of Undress,